Hi! Hi, everyone. Wow.
It's a full house for a homegrown hero.
I know. I'm just going to say Olá a todos.
Thank you so much for joining us
No,
to open
thank
the
you.
modem stage.
No, thank you for...
So the issue at hand here today is basically how has the model changed? Like, what does a model's life look like now? And you've been modeling since you were straight out of school for maybe a decade, you're saying?
Yeah.
So
it's actually going to be... Next week, there's going to be 10 years that I won the contest here in Portugal that started all this.
yeah,
So
exactly.
It's kind of crazy that it's been 10 years.
Yeah, so tell me a bit about how the role of the model has changed. Like, how have you personally kind of seen the way it's changed over time?
I definitely, even in these 10 years that I've been modeling, it changed quite a lot. From the beginning to now, and when Facebook, Instagram, Twitter all came into the industry, it had a complete change how models or the industry works. Like we used to not really have a voice. We just show up at a job, look pretty, shut up, don't say anything, do your job, go home. And now you're seeing a shift where girls have a voice. I have a direct voice to millions of people, and that's very powerful. It's powerful that I can just go on my Instagram, say something, and that's going to be viewed by millions of people. And with that also comes a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it must be quite daunting as well.
It's definitely has its good and bad things, definitely. But I think if you choose to focus on the good things, it's making incredible things to models nowadays. I think it's starting to really get the industry to notice that you can't just push the girls and guys around anymore, and we're starting to be looked as equals in the industry. Mm-hmm. Well, we've always been kind of, I want to say, exploited in a certain way, and we're just always you get into a job and you just have to do whatever everyone else tells you to.
Yeah. And, with that kind of comes certain dangers as well. Like, if you're a powerful, well-known model, it's less likely someone will treat you badly. But if you're starting out at the beginning of your career, like, what kind of protections do you even have?
Definitely. I mean, when you have such a big platform that if someone does something to you, you can just go out and publicly shaming them and taking them accountable for their actions, it's really powerful. And people maybe get a bit scared and think twice if they're going to do something to you. But then there's a change when, like, it's a new face. They feel like I have no voice, and they come to a joy and just keep being pushed around. And that's important to know that the girls, even if you feel like you don't have a voice, you really do. Posts get viral nowadays. You don't even have to have millions of followers, and posts can really reach so much if it's, the public loves a story and all stuff like that. But it does come as a responsibility. Mm-hmm. You do have power, but you also have a responsibility once you reach so many people to, I kind of have to, if it's still happening to me, that I have all this reach of people, imagine what's not happening to girls that are just starting.
Because you yourself have had experiences in the past where you've been made to feel uncomfortable or unhappy.
And I've definitely had, throughout my career, a lot of times that I've felt like I got pushed into doing some things I didn't want to, or, things that everyone's like, oh, that's just part of the business. You get a lot of that. That's just part of the business. And it really shouldn't be part of the business. It should be okay for me to say, no, I don't want to get naked and change in front of people that I've never met. Mm-hmm. But if you ask, like, can I have somewhere where I can change by myself? You're like, oh, diva.
Yeah.
And things like this are like, that's just part of the job. You have to get used to it if you want to get ahead in this industry. And, that's not how it's supposed to be. And funny enough, this past year, 2 years, I've been having situations happening to me especially when, I've always been very comfortable with my own body, and I've always looked at it in terms of art, but I've always been very, not picky, but, all the naked photos I've done have been very controlled and thought about. Mm-hmm. And I've been having a lot of shoots that I arrived and they just expect me to get naked. And, and when someone just forces me or expects something from me without even asking, I'll be like, no.
Right.
And that's something I've been very vocal about. And, I probably have burned some bridges with some photographers because, if you don't respect me, I'm really going to close myself. Mm-hmm. I had jobs that before the job, I was asked, this is a mood board. They want some nudity. Are you okay with it? Or are you not okay with it? And I tell them, I'm okay with this. I'm not okay with that. And then they book me for the job. And I get there, and, it's a mutual agreement. You have the stylist asking again, the theme. And then the photographer comes are you okay? Do you want me to close the set? And this is when a job is made with respect. You really feel respected. And then you have jobs where, like Louis, because I had bad experience, and I made sure that I would not get myself into the position that there was a big lack of miscommunication, and I got to the job and the photographer was expecting something and you weren't, and for that not to happen, I made sure when this option came through, I was the only way I would do it would be if there is a no nudity agreement, especially knowing the magazine. And I knew the photographer. I've worked a lot with him. I had a good relationship with him, and I knew I could trust him. So, but I made sure, I want a contract stipulated that this is not going to happen. Yeah,
you were clear about your boundaries.
I was clear about it, and they agreed. They didn't have to agree. No one forced them to agree, but the moment they agreed, okay, so I can come into the shoot and be comfortable that this is not going to happen like it has in the past. And then I arrive in the shoot, and obviously even with the contract, you have someone in the shoot, not the photographer, but pressuring me into get naked. And then they always come and get pictures that I've done in the past, but this is no different than this. Yeah. And I'm yes, it is. It's about choice. Just because you've kissed a lot of guys in the past doesn't give anyone the right to come and kiss you without your permission.
Exactly.
And this is the same thing. It's about choice.
It's almost like once you do nudity, some people expect that that's nudity forever, which it isn't. It's about your individual.
It's my individual choice to who I want to do it to what publication, with what team, with what photographer, even times of my life. Mm-hmm. I'm probably at a time in my life now that I don't feel as much necessity of doing as much naked pictures. Not that I'm not comfortable, I am, but you go through phases of your life that you don't want to do it as much. And that for me, and on the shoot, I put my foot down and I was like, no. And I really got upset when that person came and showed me the pictures, and I was like, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. And then while you're shooting your model, it's really hard to make sure everything is always covered because you're posing. You want to be comfortable. You want to look natural. And, you let yourself, and you have to trust the team. They're not going to use the photos you don't want them to use because accidents happen. Yeah. And you show a little nipple. You show a bit too much sometimes. That only when I look down, I'm like, oops. It happens. Yeah. Situations like this happen all the time. And you kind of trust the team to not publish those photos, and I saw those photos on the pic, and I'm like, we're not using that, and they're like, oh, that's very easily to retouch, or don't worry, we won't use it. And then to my surprise, the magazine cover, and one of those accidents was on the cover, and another one was inside of the story. Mm-hmm. And that felt very hurt because for me it was the one time that I made sure this was not going to happen. They still did it.
And then you took to Instagram to actually call them out for their behavior.
Exactly. And, for me, it took me a while to figure it out what I wanted to do about it because it's a very scary, you're calling out publicly someone. You're not just saying someone did this and you're not naming that. You're full on calling someone out, and that's something that the industry needs desperately, is people start calling out people by their name and taking people accountable for their actions. And that's what I wanted to start. And, you know, I made sure I did it with, I had an old team that worked with me and make sure this was done the right way. And, you know, I was very overwhelmed with the reaction to it, but what I wanted from the post was just, you know what, I just hope I will be at least saving one girl from this happening to them. Because I got so many texts and comments from friends of mine and colleagues saying, oh my God, thank you so much for talking. This has happened to me. Like, and it makes me think, like, if people were more vocal about, maybe this would have happened to me.
Yeah. Maybe they would be less, maybe a magazine like that would be less frightened of doing
Exactly.
that.
And at least now I know that, you know, if some model is going to work for this magazine, at least they'll know the kind of magazine they're going to be. They're not going to respect you, and at least you can make your own choice about it. But at least I hope people will be more informed about how at least this particular one does.
And I think that's really the power of social media and Instagram, right? Like, it could so easily just be selfies of people looking cute, but when something serious and interesting is actually posted, it can cause waves.
Definitely. You know, Instagram is great. Everyone likes to post selfies and, you know, all these beautiful places we go. But I think it's the powerful of me being able to call out someone and, you know, they'll be accountable for their actions, and it really will start changing. At least I really do hope so. And that's the power it got. It just gave back to models. They have that power now, you know? They can't just push you around, do whatever, force you to do whatever, because you have the voice to go on social media and tell them, like, this is not right. And this is not okay. And this is what happened. Be careful. Don't let this happen to you. And once that starts, it's like, it's a big change in the industry that's about to happen.
Do you get the feeling that a lot of models or women in the industry are quite fed up with the way that things have been?
Definitely. I mean, I'm definitely fed up, and I'm in a great position in the fashion industry, so I can't even imagine all these new girls that are just coming in. Especially when you're a new face, it's really, there's a lot of, shit you go through. It's a lot. And underage girls being forced to do topless photos, underage girls being sexualized very early, you know, and even older girls being bullied into get naked, you know, and you know, and it doesn't need to be like that. It can be a collaboration, you know. If you go into a shoot and the photographer, the makeup artist, the stylist, they're all collaborating together, why can't a model? Why does the model has to be the one to shut up and do everything? Why can't she bring something to the table? Why can't she give her opinion without being called complicated to work with, or
troublesome,
or troublemaker, or, you know, and that's something. It's not just in the fashion world. Like, every woman, when they just speak out for themselves, is like, oh, she's a feminist.
Yeah, here she goes again.
She's like, oh, there she goes again. Like, she's a troublemaker. And when a guy speaks up for themselves, it's, oh my God, it's so inspiring. And it shouldn't be like that. And the funniest thing, we're probably the only industry in the world where actually women make so much more money than men. The disparity is, like, insane. And still, we are still so exploited in the industry. We're still not respected. And you have to start asking why.
What do you think needs to change in the industry for women to actually get the respect that they're due, not just, you know, the money?
Yeah. I think definitely taking people accountable for their actions. Mostly that, you know, and people, and start not just close an eye and just, like, pretend that didn't happen. You know, agents don't send models to problematic photographers that they're known to be abusive. You know, like magazines, brands, don't work with those photographers. Photographers, don't be assholes. You know, all these little things really do. It needs to start happening a conversation. You know, everyone knows it's happening, but no one does anything about it. You know, and like everyone knew about Terry Richardson, and all this people looked the other way and kept working with him. And now this whole Weinstein happened, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, let's use him as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
That's kind of hypocrite. You guys knew this was happening, and you still choose to work with him year after year. And you're putting these girls into that situation because, you know, like, he's shooting a big campaign. What am I going to say? No. And it's not even about the big models that are probably going to have a trouble with him, but, you know, or with him or any other photographer. This is not just one person. This is way broad to the whole industry.
Right.
And it's not even about the job itself. It's the go-sees. It's the castings. They're not monitored. They just, you know, you go at 6 p.m. to a photographer's house, do a go-see, you know, and just you. And what back can that happen, right?
And when you're young and you're new to the industry,
exactly,
you just assume maybe this is how things are supposed to be?
Exactly. Like, I started traveling when I was about 19. I was very well educated, and I'm a very opinionated person, and I have a very good perspective how things are. And still things I would be like, is that normal? Is that not normal? So imagine what a 14, 15-year-old that doesn't know better, that's there probably alone, the parents aren't there, how easy they can be pushed. How easy they'll just like, don't even know what to react. Now I'm 26 and I can be like, no, like, I'd rather never work with you again, even that's gonna hurt my career, than break my values. I know that.
What do you think, so for people in the fashion industry watching this right now, what is like the one thing that they could do to make the situation better for models, both young and established like yourself?
I think, to models or?
To models, yeah.
I think it's important to really stay true to yourself and don't be pushed around. Don't be scared to say no. I think that's the most important thing. And, you know, you're going to be branded as difficult. You might lose some jobs, but I do think the industry's starting to walk on the right direction. And I think it really, if everyone starts, you know, staying true to themselves and like saying that, you know what, this is not okay. I deserve better than this. And talk to your agents, you know, and really, and if they don't listen, you know, like, yell at them. Like, you know, I had to not yell, but, you know, like, you have to sometimes talk until it gets into someone's head.
And I guess the great thing is the more people start talking, the less it's troublesome and difficult.
And the more people start talking, like I said, it's kind of creates a bit of fear. And fear sometimes maybe it's good for the industry to be a bit scared that they just can't just do whatever they want. I don't think it's a bad thing right now in this particular situation.
Yeah, it's about giving women respect.
Exactly.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much, Sara. Here, we'll give a big round of applause to Sara Sampaio.
Thank you, guys.